So you found your dream home, made an offer, got your offer accepted. Congratulations. Now starts the closing process. So today what we're going to do is we're going to look at the closing process and the steps involved to get to close. Once you get to close, there's one item if you're moving to Florida that I don't want you to miss. So stay tuned to the end, I will cover that. Hey everyone, I'm Jeff Gould, and today we're going to cover the closing process and the steps to get you to the closing table. Please join me for a few minutes and we'll jump right in. You got your offer accepted. What we want to do now is take a look at the contract and figure out what the effective date is. The effective date of the contract is basically the date of the last signature and initial on the contract, which made it an executed contract. The effective date is important because that's the date a lot of the timing on the contract defaults to look at when things are due. So the first thing you want to do is order a home inspection. It's really important to find a home inspection that's got a good reputation. Find one that's been around, do your homework, look on Google, check out their reviews. Home inspections, I've had good ones, I've had really bad ones. A good home inspection company is going to find the important things in a house. A bad home inspection company is basically going to pat themselves on the back and find every little thing with the house and try and scare you. You don't want to be scared. You just want to find out what's important to you with this home. So anything that would materially affect the value of the home or could be a cause of some concern in the future. A home inspection company goes by a list. They go from top to bottom, A to Z, and they look through the entire house. There's a couple items on there we really want to pay attention to. The air conditioner, the roof, the hot water heater, any electrical issues, if there's any WDO, which stands for wood destroying organisms, so your termites and your fungus. Those items we want to make sure that we know that they're there or there's any issues that we need to be aware of. Small things like a cracked outlet cover, those don't mean anything. That's not the kind of stuff that we want a home inspector to find. A good home inspection company is going to have a full report for you with color pictures, things broken down by color. Blue means it's something to keep an eye on. Red means it's an important item. Really look at this closely. Let's say the home inspection company finds some cracking on the side of the house. It's generally going to be just settlement issues, which is normal for Florida. But if they, in their opinion, think it might be more, they might recommend that you get an engineer to come in and take a look at it just to make sure the house is fine. So again, we're looking at the as-is contract here. So one of the things the Florida as-is contract does, it gives you the right to inspect the home and then request repairs if there's something that's in the house that came up in the inspection report that you just weren't expecting. If you're looking at the inspection report and you see things on there that you noticed while you were touring the home originally, it's not necessarily something that we should be asking for the seller to repair or give a credit for. So keep that in mind. I think a home inspection, this is my opinion, but I think a home inspection is more for if we're going to ask for items on there, we made our offer based on what we can visually see. So if anything different comes back in the home report, like we think the roof was in really good shape when we made the offer, and now all of a sudden it comes back with roof damage, we should be asking for roof damage repair. Keep in mind that this is the as-is contract. The as-is contract is a little different from the normal contract. The normal Florida contract basically obligates the seller to make a certain percentage worth of repairs after the home inspection. The as-is contract doesn't obligate anybody to anything. So it doesn't obligate you as the buyer to continue with the contract, and it doesn't obligate the seller to make any repairs. So if there's something like a roof issue, what we do is we request them to fix the repairs. So they have the opportunity to get a roofer out there, get an estimate, see what they want to do, if they want to make the repairs or not. If they make the repairs, we do an addendum saying that they're going to make the repairs. If they say they're not going to make the repairs, you have the opportunity to cancel the contract, get your earnest money deposit back, and move along to something else. So that was a long explanation for the home inspection process, but basically the first step on it is to order the home inspection. After that is the earnest money deposit. Most closings happen at title companies in Florida rather than at attorney's office. Most title companies would rather you wire funds in for both your earnest money deposit and closing funds than to send them a check or bring a check to them. Wiring of funds is immediate. The money goes into the account right away. They hold it in escrow for you. There's no worrying about a check bouncing and other things going on. So title companies would prefer you to wire the money to them. One thing to be aware of, there's a lot of fraud going on right now with wiring. So make sure before you wire any money to anybody that you separately Google who they are. So if it's XYZ Title Company, make sure you Google XYZ Title Company, look up their information on Google, physically call that phone number, get on the phone and say, "Hi, my name is Mrs. Smith. I would like to verify wiring instructions." The title companies want you to do this. They don't ever want somebody getting scammed out of their money. So please, please make that phone call, look on Google, make sure you verify the wiring instructions. It's very, very important. So if you look at your contract, you'll see a spot in there for earnest money deposit. So the earnest money deposit has to be deposited within blank days. The contract does default to 3 days. I happen to like 3 days. It gives everybody a chance to get the contract over to the title company, get the buyer all situated to wire the funds, all that kind of stuff. Keep in mind, it is a hard date, so you need to get the funds wired by that number of days that's in the contract. All right, next thing on the list, if you're not paying cash for your house, is to apply for a mortgage. The contract allows you 5 days from the date of the executed contract, again, the effective date, to get an application in for your mortgage. Odds are you may have already done this, right? So if you had a pre-approval done, you went through the application process and started this. But just make sure within 5 days, unless that number has been changed on your contract, that you get your application in for your mortgage. So now the mortgage process has started. You're going to be working closely with your lender. Your realtor at this point kind of fades into the background for a little while until you get closer to closing. For your mortgage process, they're going to be asking you for a lot of information. Be ready for it. They may ask you for information 4, 5, 6 different times. That's part of the process. Don't get frustrated. They didn't lose your paperwork. It is what they do. I think they tend to look and see if you turn in different information somehow and see if there's fraud involved. Again, we don't want fraud. Don't do that. Turn your information in as they request it and as soon as possible. If you delay getting the information to them, you could have issues when it comes time to closing that your loan isn't ready to close. While the mortgage process is going on, start shopping around for your hazard insurance. Find a reputable company again for your hazard insurance. Don't just get the cheapest insurance. If someday you have an issue, you'd be thankful that you got a company that stands behind what they're doing instead of having to fight with an insurance company to get your money. One of the stipulations for the loan is going to be that you have your hazard insurance in place, so they're going to check that before they issue a clear to close for your loan. About a week or so before you're ready to close, start looking into transferring the utilities into your name. So gas, electric, water, etc. The numbers are generally public information. If you're working with me, I have a full list for you. But get those transferred into your name so you're ready to close. If you're from out of state and you're going to actually be signing in Florida, make sure that you wire your funds into a local bank account in Florida to be able to transfer the funds or wire the funds to the title company for closing. Some banks won't allow you to initiate a wire transfer unless you're actually signing for that wire transfer right in front of them. So make sure you plan ahead for that and get the funds wired into Florida so you're ready to close. If not, if you're home, basically you're going to wait to wire the funds until about 2 or 3 days before closing. So basically you're going to wait for a clear to close. The title company is going to send you a closing disclosure. On that closing disclosure, you're going to see the amount of money that you need to wire to the title company prior to closing. All right, we're getting close to the close date right now. So what we're hoping is 3 to 4 days prior to your closing date that the lender issues what's known as a clear to close. That means everything's good with the loan, they're ready to go. At this point, your lender and the title company are going to start exchanging numbers back and forth and making sure that they both agree on everything number-wise. Then what the title company will do again is they're going to issue a closing disclosure. From there, you wire your funds to the title company and then prepare to close. Make sure you look over your closing disclosure closely, that it jives with you. If you've had any questions, make sure you ask either the title company or your realtor or both before you get to the closing table. It's important. So if everything's running smoothly, the day before closing, you probably want to get ready to wire your funds. I would have the wire sent probably the afternoon before closing, so when you get to the closing table the next day, the wire is there, there's no issues, they're ready to close. Either the day before or the morning of the closing, we like to do what's called a final walkthrough. So what we want to do is check out the property, make sure the moving companies didn't damage anything, that all the appliances that were in the contract that they're supposed to stay are staying there, and that the house in general is broom clean and ready to go. If we see any issues with the house during the final walkthrough, we don't want to sign for closing. We want to make sure they're taken care of before you close and sign to move in. All right, you're ready to close. Most of the time, closings will happen at the title company. You'll be here local, you go to the title company and you sign. In general, as a buyer with a mortgage, it's going to take anywhere from about 45 minutes to 2.5 hours for closing. And then basically you are closed, you get the keys, and you get to head to your house. So one last thing before you go. If you're moving to Florida and this is going to be your primary residence, make sure that once your deed is filed with the clerk, which takes about 3 to 4 weeks, that you fill out your paperwork for your homestead exemption. So basically what your homestead exemption does is it reduces your taxes a little bit, and it also caps how much your appraised value can go up in a year. So it's a really good thing to have this done, and you have some time to do it. It doesn't necessarily need to be 3 to 4 weeks from when you first move in. And again, I send a reminder at the end of every year to make sure everybody does this, but make sure you do it. It's going to save you some money. If you found this video helpful, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future episodes. Once again, I'm Jeff Gould. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.